Welcome to Planet Aid's first career day. And today what we're going to do is we're going to be talking with two and possibly three people who are doing some great and big things in sustainability. And we're going to start off talking to Marissa Michalkiewicz. And Marissa, before I talk to you, I just wanted to acknowledge that we did a Keep Me Posted with Planet Aid earlier. And, I came to find out about you through your TikTok account when you were working, in Appleton, Wisconsin with the name of it, Outagamie County Recycling and Solid Waste Department. And I kept seeing these TikToks, saying that. And they were just like so funny and amusing. And, and I'm like looking at the likes and what? Why are these likes so high for a recycling entity? So I love just your background in the fact that you have a sustainable career choice. And at the same time, you don't just limit yourself to just doing sustainable things. You say marketing as well. You do marketing as well. So both of those things, you have passion for both of those things and you integrate them. So tell me a little bit about what you're doing now, Marissa.
Sure. So, well, first and foremost, thanks for having me, talking with you today. My background is kind of interesting because when I was in school, I remember pretty vividly, I was a junior in high school when I made the determination to pursue both environmental science and business. Now, mind you, that was in the year 2011, which does not sound like that long ago. But in the realm of sustainability, that was a very bizarre thing for a student to say. And people would look at me really funny. They'd be like, well, what job are you going to have? And I'm like, it'll make sense one day. Like it'll work. So fast forward, I went to the University of Wisconsin, Green Bay, and I majored in, ultimately, I have a Bachelor of Business Administration, which I call my practical degree. So I have two emphases, one in finance, one in management. And then I minored in environmental science and environmental policy and planning, which I call the fun stuff. So basically, I just wrapped sustainable business as my mantra. And ultimately, yes, it led me to Outagamie County Recycling and Solid Waste. I've held a lot of very different jobs. Once I left college, I love to work, and ultimately every experience leads you to where you ultimately want to go. But yeah, marketing's always been a passion of mine. I love storytelling. Creativity is one thing I wish I could utilize every day of my life, which I try to. My whole goal with Outagamie County was making recycling entertaining, because environmentalism, if you want people to pay attention, you ultimately have to make it catchy and engaging. So that's what I did while I was at the county, and TikTok was just a perfectly timed catching lightning in a bottle kind of moment. And it was really fun. And then I made a career change recently. I work for a company called Carnivore Meat Company now, where I am working in the raw and freeze-dried pet food industry, still marketing, but at the same time, I am still doing sustainable initiatives because I do own and run my own business. It's called Giveadaam Ventures. So we're just doing entrepreneurship. We're working full time, and ultimately, sustainability is always at the forefront of what I do.
So Giveadaam Ventures is a startup company in Green Bay, Wisconsin, that intends to introduce energy efficient and affordable college housing around the UW Green Bay campus. So I was a student at UW Green Bay from 2012 to 2016, and when I first went to look for housing around the campus, since everyone kind of wants their first home away from home, but discovered really quickly that there is not much for student housing in the Green Bay area. So I started developing this idea like, oh, maybe I could introduce energy efficient housing because I am a huge sustainability nerd. So I wanted to tie that into the lack of housing in Green Bay. So from there, after graduation, it took a little bit, but decided to launch Giveadaam Ventures to hopefully introduce more housing for the students of UW Green Bay.
I also heard in a podcast that you actually came to really love environmentalism through a really great teacher. And I love the fact that the power of teachers can really turn your mind towards something that you may not have even grown up with. Tell me a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So yeah, I didn't come from a family of diehard tree huggers. So I honestly can't tell you where it came from. I was, I guess, just born with the desire to pursue environmentalism. But yeah, I had a teacher. I was a sophomore in high school, and he was one of the football coaches. He taught the environmental science classes, and he was so passionate about teaching environmentalism. Where he kind of made it cool when, again, it was 2010, which it doesn't sound that long ago, but a lot has changed in 10 years when it comes to sustainability. So yeah, for this little eco geek growing up, seeing him get so passionate about something made me in turn stay passionate. You know, it was like an invitation to continue pursuing that field and really falling deeper in love with it. So yeah, power to all the teachers. I can imagine, like, if maybe I wouldn't have had him as a teacher, I wouldn't have continued pursuing something that was so new at the time. So absolutely, you got to have those good teachers.
Wonderful. And that is also a career path that is, a lot of times people don't think about it as so important, but very important, especially we need those science teachers out there to inspire the new generation, to bring forth, appreciation for things that we wouldn't, really necessarily think about unless they brought it to our attention. So Marissa, tell us a little bit about your new venture, as you call it. And I'm not going to curse. You're not going to make me curse, Marissa.
I know, how funny. So when I came up with the name of my business, for me, it's just being obvious. Like, all of us need to care a little deeper about the environment and sustainability and community around us. So when I came up with the name of my business, it's Giveadaam, like, because I think more dams need to be given. And my mom's like, change the name, do Giveadaam. I'm like, not the same, Mom, I'm sorry. But anyway, so I started my business to pursue affordable and energy efficient housing options to rent solely to young professionals and or college students in the Brown County area. So it's my glorified hobby, I guess, by default, because I do work full time and then I pursue that after work. So I've been working on that since September of 2017. We're almost done with the first property in Green Bay. So we're so close to having an occupancy permit, and then we'll have people living there and teaching about environmental construction. So
tell me about the property, though. Then you secured the lot for the property. Tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, so I started working with the city of Green Bay in the spring of 2018. So it's been a long process, but basically just figuring out what kind of lot would be suitable for a redevelopment opportunity to introduce one of these more affordable and community engaged properties. So I worked with a general contractor who is renowned for energy efficient design in Wisconsin, which is not very common at all. Unfortunately, he passed away last December, so it's made it very complicated in the end. But ultimately, we're finally getting to the point of bringing this. It's technically a 2-family property, so 5 people will end up living there. It's just designed to be more energy efficient. And at the end of the day, I guess I'll just have to report back on it once it's all said and done. But yeah, it's in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
So what is the dream with this, with
Yeah. The dream one day, it's evolved a lot, especially since I started constructing it during the pandemic, which was very unfortunate timing. But once we regroup and rebound and see how this property fills out, my ultimate goal would be to continue introducing these properties in infill lots, not just starting from scratch, more incorporating it into existing communities, because that's also an element of sustainability that's not talked about as much. But the revitalization of existing infrastructure, breathing life into communities that may have been looked over for a little bit. So it's really just, I think that's more my goal moving forward, just to continue introducing these properties, just sliding them into communities and seeing what happens.
So some of the areas that you cover would be renewable energy, recycling, waste optimization, and community involvement. So I wanted to actually talk to you about what I think people probably wouldn't necessarily think is one of the big things, community involvement. I think community involvement is very important to what you're trying to do because you have to have buy-in. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, community involvement is that secret part of sustainability that gets overlooked sometimes. But while I was working on the designs of this property with our architecture firm, we spent a lot of time diving into the community and building those connections that ultimately the people who live at this property will get to experience. So we've worked with homeless shelters because, again, we're introducing new properties. It's always good to invest in the organizations that are working with those who don't have housing, period. We're working with local restaurants, bars, breweries, the fun aspect of, living in a community. And then at the same time, working with event venues, downtown city organizations. We've kind of sprinkled all over the city and worked to build those community connections because, yes, at the end of the day, when you're trying to do something new and you're doing things that are untraditional, it's always good to be out there talking about it with individuals and getting their buy-in so that at the end of the day, when you need to paint an entire property, you can call on who we call our Giveadaamers to come out and help with that mission, because the best way, in my opinion, to grow a community is to not only create your own community to be able to push that mission forward. So community is very important because at the end of the day, if something were to go wrong, it's nice to be able to call on a group of people to come help you out and kind of help push your mission forward too. So, if you want to learn about my 40-hour work week job, you can look at carnivoremeatcompany.com. It's fun. Dogs, cats, everyone loves pets. But then if you want to learn more about my business, you can go to giveadaamventures.com or find Giveadaam on Instagram.